Today, we're breaking down the system that keeps your home cool, comfy, and efficient all year long. Today, I'm talking with somebody who knows Mitsubishi ductless systems inside and out. Whether you've heard the term mini split or you're just wondering why the heck people are raving about ductless, you're going to want to listen to today's show. Welcome. This is Trammell Stewart. He is the Mitsubishi Cowboy Specialist with Hunton Distribution.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Glad you're here. I want to start off, let's kind of discuss ducted systems versus a ductless system. So let's start off with ducted first, right? Like, what does that mean?
So ducted and ductless, that's more of like the air distribution type. So ducted, I mean, it goes through duct work throughout the attic or under the home. And the air is at a centralized air handler and it blows through that ductwork and comes out of a register. That's ducted. It's typically what we see in this market primarily. Then you have ductless, which is like a Mitsubishi Electric system, where the system is on the wall and the air just distributes outside of the unit and it goes straight into the space. So you don't have any kind of ducting or piping or whatever where it's going through.
That's interesting. They've been out since the 1950s. They've been out for a long time. But in our market, people understand what a ducted system is. Some have heard of a ductless system. Technically, when we get phone calls, right, they hear about it, it's because they saw something, right? Because it's not mainstream at this point, although it should be. Here in our office, we did mostly ductless systems, right? In our office that we're sitting in today. Ducted systems is older technology, though, right? That's where the whole market started. And if you look at when your air goes through that, let's call it box in the attic, right? And then it gets distributed out to your register, you're going to have some type of loss, right? Whether it be a friction loss, temperature loss, the system has to work different and has to work harder, right? What makes ductless work more efficient than that?
Well, you brought it up, the heat loss of the air. So if it goes through a 130-degree attic, that air going through that ductwork is going to rise as it goes throughout the attic and is distributed throughout the home. If the cooling source or heating source is in the space, it doesn't have to go through all that. So it doesn't have to run as long to satisfy the temperature. But that's just one of many benefits of this type of product. There's a lot of different ways that Mitsubishi Electric systems can add value into a home to provide ultimate comfort.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Most homes, when you buy one, are going to have a traditional ducted system, right? So is there a way that we can retrofit a ductless system, maybe to a part of the home, or is there a way that we could do it specifically or through that entire home?
You could do a combination of all of the above. So what's popular right now is people doing it's just a single room treatment with a ductless system or ducted, because Mitsubishi Electric makes ducted and ductless. So let's say a master suite, for example. Somebody wants to keep their thermostat set higher at night for the whole home, and there's particular room, like the master, they want it lower. So they could have a Mitsubishi system in that room to where it can control the temperature lower, just so they're not having to condition the entire home and raise that electricity usage for, let's say, a 5-ton for a whole home, and they could use a 3/4 ton just for that one room.
I would say the majority of our phone calls that come into this office are for that type of setting, right? They want to be able to run their air conditioning higher in the other part of the home, and yet they have one that's specific to the master where they can really turn that one down. And they're so efficient, the cost to run is very minimal. Another area that we get calls, which is actually makes total sense, is when you're in a master bathroom, and women especially know this, when they're curling their hair, doing the hair dryer, they just got out of the shower and they start sweating again. You know, your air conditioning is not meant to fix that, right? You're putting all this additional heat within that one bathroom in that specific area. Right. So we get calls on how do we fix that? Is there a solution for that? I'm tired of sweating when I'm looking at my mirror. And I think that happens a lot more than what we know. So would you say putting one in the bathroom is a smart idea?
Depends on the room, but you definitely could. You can put these wherever. We see them in garages. We see them in gyms, home offices, larger master bathrooms, individual mother-in-law suites, game rooms, add-on additions. I have one in my attic. I mean, you can put them wherever. So that's the beauty of the flexibility for applications for this product.
That's interesting. You mentioned something in the attic. What made you put one in your personal home's attic?
I figured you would ask that. So I have, we had Snowmageddon happen in our market a few years ago.
That was really good for me, by the way.
I'm sure it was. You may not like that I have a Mitsubishi in my attic. But bursting pipes because it was such a low temperature, and with the electricity off and on, it couldn't, the attics were getting very cold and pipes were bursting. So I have a whole home generator at my house, so the electricity is not going to be an issue. However, the temperature inside that vented attic was a concern of mine. And so my whole home has Mitsubishi Electric ducted systems, and we just tapped into the refrigerant lines and added a head, a wall mount head in the attic where my tankless water heater's at and all my copper piping. And so I can turn that on from my phone using the Mitsubishi app and turn it on when it's, in the 20s, to turn it in heat mode to keep my attic above freezing so I can sleep comfortably knowing that my attic is above freezing. So that's why I did that.
That's a great application.
Interesting application.
Well, it is, and I guarantee nobody else is really thinking that way. But it's true. In our office, I actually put one in our server room. Instead of doing a traditional ducted system, which we have both here in our office, but we've got a whole server room that I put a Mitsubishi ductless system in, and it keeps that whole room very cool. It's a specific application for that room, and so our products in that room don't get overheated, and they last longer. So that was my point of doing that. Right?
Server room I'm glad you brought that up. Server rooms are very, very common to have a Mitsubishi ductless system. And they actually make a P-Series, which is designed for server rooms and low ambient cooling applications. And so a lot of people will say, I can go get this mini split off the internet and put it in a server room, and it's going to fail shortly because it's not designed for continuous use at low ambient temperatures. So Mitsubishi has a P-Series product. We call it the Professional Series, and it is designed for low ambient. It can produce, get this, it can produce 100% of their cooling capabilities down to 0 degree ambient. So it can be 0 degrees outside, and that 3 tons is going to put out 3 tons of air. It's pretty impressive.
Oh,
and
that's
with a 10-year warranty. It's crazy.
Super impressive. And that's the series that we went with in our server room. So no matter what the temperature is outside, that server room is going to stay 65 degrees, period, no matter what. It's great. And we had it the time that we went through the freeze, no problem. Server room was still 65.
Wow.
It was great. So in saying that, let's talk about this internet. Let's talk about this. We actually got a call last week from a client that purchased one off the internet.
Okay.
Gave them a standard price. Typically, most of the components are with the system, you would think, right? And that's just what we're used to. But they bought a brand I had never heard of. And of course, we're in the installation business, right? So if you buy something and you're able to get that and delivered, of course, I will put that in. So we showed up, and they didn't have any parts. And they usually have a line set. They usually have the fittings. They usually have other stuff. And so, You've got to be very careful what you're buying. You have to understand what you're buying. And the internet is very cloudy these days.
The internet's like an inch deep and a mile wide. There's not a lot of support. You can just buy a box though. But the internet can't put it in for you. Nix can. And so when you buy from a distributor like Hunton Distribution, you're getting the product, the quality product, and the support behind that product. So as you know, y'all attend many of our trainings in-house that we do to educate our dealers like yourself so that you know the equipment inside and out, so you can go put that product in properly, which is the most important day of an air conditioning's life, is the day it's put in. You can go put that product in properly with the right application to minimize frustration and issues for that homeowner or building owner. So the internet can't provide you with that. We can sell you the box as well, but we want to support you behind that box.
I want to add to that, because I think there is a misconception in the marketplace, and especially with tankless water heaters, right? It is all about the install. The products rarely fail. The products are tested and retested, and they are known, and they know what has failed, and they've got it corrected before it even hits the market. It depends on who installs it, is really what it comes down to. And they can create premature failure, and you won't know. But unless you're going with a good company, one that's been around, one that you know is going to be here for the future to support you and not be gone tomorrow after they put it in, it is extremely important, because if something does go wrong, the support that you're going to get will help you get through the frustration.
Yeah, think of like your house. I'm sure the viewers would agree. Do you want someone that's going to build a house poorly or build a house well? You know, what's going to have greater success long term? A quickly built house that's kind of just thrown together, like they are doing nowadays, more and more.
Doing all in the Heights?
Yeah.
Go right over here in the Heights. Might as well just put one nail on that stud, right?
It's crazy. So anyway, that's what you get when you buy Mitsubishi Electric through Nix, who's sourcing it from Hunton. You know, all support. We're in the support business. Boxes can move themselves, but we sell the support behind it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We are well supported by you guys. Now, let's talk about some comfort meets savings, right? Let's talk around efficiency. I think there's a big misconception in the market, and they hear this SEER rating, right? Let's SEER rating. What does SEER rating mean? I mean, like, what does it really mean? I think what it really means is, how much am I going to save per month on my electrical bill? How efficient is that pump?
You know,
right?
SEER,
that motor, in other words.
You know, we have a lot of acronyms in our industry, like HVAC. SEER is an efficiency rating for how efficient that equipment is, like miles per gallon on a vehicle. People can usually relate to that more. So it's how efficient is that system while it's running at a tested condition. What is the efficiency of it? And so Mitsubishi's, all their equipment is variable speed inverter technology, all of it, which means high efficiency. And to define that SEER 2 rating, they have some equipment that goes all the way up to 35 SEER 2. Now, somebody may say, what in the world does that mean, 35 SEER 2? Well, I would ask you, what is a traditional unitary system efficiency that you're seeing, kind of a medium efficiency? What, like maybe a 18?
That would be medium in my book.
Agreed. Yeah. And Mitsubishi has some 18s. Their actually lowest efficiency ductless unit is 18 SEER 2. Their highest is 35. So from an 18 to a 35 is their range of efficiency. But efficiency is one thing. A lot of people get hung up on efficiency. I like to talk about the comfort that product's going to provide, because we can't feel efficiency. Maybe we can with our wallet a little bit, but we can feel the comfort, which is what we have air conditioning for. And a benefit of a Mitsubishi Electric HVAC system is the comfort. And take my house, for example, we'll go back to that. I have a zoned system. So versus a unitary system that's just going to do one whole zone, I have multiple indoor units to control different zones of the home. And it doesn't mean it's some big home. My house isn't big at all. But I have one unit that does the master suite, one unit that does upstairs, one unit that does the living room area, and then, of course, the one I mentioned in the attic. And then I have another for the garage. But that's tied just to 2 outdoor units. And so instead of taking one large system and pumping ductwork throughout the whole house to treat the whole home, I have multiple smaller zoned units to control just the individual zones for controlled comfort. And that's what I really like about this type of technology and this equipment is to have the individual zones. Think of plumbing. You do both. Whenever you walk into the kitchen sink and you want to use that kitchen sink, do you run around to the rest of the house and turn on all the faucets in the home because you want to use that kitchen sink?
If I want to waste water, maybe.
Right? How is HVAC any different?
Yeah.
If you just want to be in that one room and you want to be in that room for an extended period of time, why do you want upstairs to be 67 if no one's even up there? Empty nesters. They go months without anybody going upstairs. Yet they're keeping the whole house at whatever the temperature is because they want to sleep at that lower temperature.
I think you just made a good definition between a ducted system and a ductless system. Ducted doesn't give you a choice, right? Your whole upstairs is done. Yeah, okay, there's a little bit of zoning that you can do. But at the end of the day, ductless can get you very granular and specific.
You can.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. Going Mitsubishi Electric here in our office, and if you look at our electrical bill, we've got a 5,000 square foot office, and we've got high ceilings. We've got open ceilings in certain areas. And our electrical bill, you would think, would be X, right? Because we're cooling the entire 5,000 square feet. At the end of the day, our electrical bill is nothing. And our building was built in the 70s. It is not that efficient. So if you look at the cost that we're spending today on electrical on where it would have been if we went with a traditional ducted system, I think it would probably be triple from what we're paying today. That's number one. Number two, if you look at energy rates, I'm about to reset up my house. I can't remember. I want to say 5 years ago, I was like in the 7-cent range. Then I reset at the 11-cent range. Today, my bill is getting reset, and I can't get it any lower than 12.6. So if you look at that, things aren't getting cheaper. They're not. And if you look at where we're going in the future, Mitsubishi Electric, Trane, it's not getting any more cheaper than where it is today. This is the cheapest you're ever going to get it, right? So let's talk about that. Mitsubishi is doing some things today to make it more affordable for certain homeowners, right? So today's the day to get it. Would you not agree?
I do agree.
It's not getting any cheaper. You agree to that? It's only getting more expensive.
My grandpa would always say, everything's going up but wages. He would always say that.
I'm waiting for my wage to go up. Been waiting for that for 15 years. But in saying that, Mitsubishi, along with your help, have come out with some great specials. Some things that you guys are running through the end of September. Let's talk about that. How can we take advantage of those today? And what are you helping homeowners with that I can provide to them, right? On some money off and getting more comfort.
So right now, Mitsubishi, Hunton Distribution, and Nix have partnered as a 3-way partnership in the Comfort for Heroes. Mm-hmm. And it's very important for all 3 of us to give back to what we call our hometown heroes. And so like we've discussed, we want to recognize our first responders, our military, our teachers, our nurses, our EMT, firefighters, police officers, everyone that we consider a hometown hero. And we want to offer a 10% discount through Nix. Yeah, and the good news is I don't know if you've realized it, but we're in the middle of summer right now, Richard, and it's super hot outside. And a lot of manufacturers are withholding their promotions and saving that for the fall, the shoulder months, the winter when it's slower. But it's super hot outside, and we've all partnered together to continue to promote Nix, Hunton, and Mitsubishi through the Comfort for Heroes promotion. And I'm very proud of that because it takes a lot for a group in the AC industry to give back in the middle of summer, because AC sells itself right now, but we want them to choose Nix and Mitsubishi. And by doing so, we want to acknowledge, those hometown heroes that we've all defined as a hero. And I'm glad that it's a broader range, because sometimes some of these different heroes get excluded from other people's promotions. But we want to recognize the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the EMTs, the military, police, all of them. And it's 10% off your invoice to them.
That's a huge deal, you guys. Huge. Mitsubishi has never done a promo since I've been in this industry to where I can give you any money off. So taking advantage of this today, again, it's not getting any cheaper. If you look at a year down the road or 2 years down the road, I think everybody understands that groceries aren't going down, right? They're not. Parts aren't going down. Cars aren't going down. I mean, we're just living into a new norm. Everything's just going to keep going up. Now, at what rate, I don't know. I've got some theories in the next 5 years of where air conditioning will be, and nobody's going to like it. It's going to be a car payment or more, right? It's going to be that extravagant, let's say. So in saying that, we are more than happier to come out and do an assessment if you want one, figure out where to put it, show you how it would look, give you some education to where you are going to be able to make a good decision on your purchase.
Yeah, there's a lot of brands out there, and there's a lot of AC contractors out there, and there's a lot of distributors out there. And so what differentiates all of us? And I define it as one word: support. That's what differentiates us from the other person. That's what differentiates you from your competition.
Absolutely.
And the better the competition, the better we have to be to overcome that. And so I have full confidence in my team and your team, because we all collectively do training together. We were here. That's how we got started with this whole meeting. I was here doing a training with your guys, letting them know the differences of good, better, best of the Mitsubishi wall mounts, which led to this. And I'm very grateful for it. But education, training, support is what's going to make the difference of that homeowner experience.
No question. And we send our guys to training 2 to 3 times a year. It's mandatory. It's not an option for them. The market's moving so quick, and if we are not on top of this every single day, we will get left behind. And there are a lot of people in my industry that are not doing this. So just be aware. But we are one of the companies that we continuously spend money continuously on education. Today, I thank you for coming in. Thank you for your time. I know it took a while for us to get this done, but I'm glad we're here, and thank you very much, and we're going to see you again.
I hope so. I'm grateful to be here.
Love it. Thanks for dropping by, Trammell. If you're out there sweating through the Texas heat, or you've got that one room in the house that's never the right temperature, might be time to think ductless. These systems are not getting any cheaper than where they are today. Take advantage of some discounts being offered through the end of September. If you need more information or would like more, give us a call. We are happy to help you any way that we can. And until next time, Trammell, I will see you again.